Okay, so welcome back to this channel. So we have successfully completed our e-commerce application, which is buy it now. Okay, so you can add more features if you want. You can definitely add more validations on the front end forms, and also you can add your own features. So now in this video, let's close up this project and deploy it on Vercel. Okay, so in this video, we will first of all connect our application with online database, and then we will publish our application on Vercel. So if I simply go back to my Chrome and I go here on the MongoDB cloud, you can see that here I don't have any database. Simply create a new account on mongodb.com and log in, and after that you simply have to create your database. Okay, so if I click here build a database, now I select here this free tier. Okay, and the name is going to be, let's call it buy it now. And if I click here create, so now it will create that for us. And now we have to basically give the username and password for the user for the database. Okay, and if I scroll down, you can see that I already have here 2 users. So if I will remove this one. Okay, now let's create one. I type here my name and password. Make sure to give a strong password here, but for the test purposes I simply use here Ghulam as well. And now if I click here create user, now we have successfully added here a new user. Okay, and then we simply have to, you can also allow some specific IPs to only access this database, but I will make it whitelist and everyone can access this database, and I will definitely delete this database after this video. So now click on finish and close. Okay, so now it will create that database for us. Okay, it will take some time. Now let's click here connect. Okay, so I select here drivers, and now we are using Node.js application, so I will select here Node.js, uh, and then this is the connection string that we have to add in our application. Okay, so what I do here is I will simply copy this from here, and then I go back to my VS Code, then I go in the next.config.js, and here I will simply add db underscore URI. Okay, that is going to be this. Okay, and let's call it db local URI. Okay, local URI like this. So now here we have to type our username and password. So remember that our user is Ghulam like this, and our password is also same. Okay, simply save it. Now this is our database connection string, that is URI. Okay, copy that, save it from here and close this file. Now let's go to our backend config db connect.js, and you can simply type that here. Okay, so now it will use this db URI, which is the online database URL, and will save the data in the database. Okay, so now let's check it out. So now if I simply start here in my server, so npm run dev. Okay, and now if I simply go back and let's open that, so you can see that here we don't have any product here because we are now connected to our online database. Okay, so now let's register a user first of all and then create our product. I click on sign in, register. Let's type here my name, and let's give here email, which is admin. Let's give here password. Click on register. Okay, so now we have successfully registered our account. So now if I simply click here browse collections, and you can see that here we have our products and then the users. Okay, if I click on users here, so we have our user. Now let's change its role to admin, and then click on update. So now we have our admin user in our database. So let's click on sign in. That is going to be admin@gmail.com. I type here my password, login. Okay, so now if I go to user profile, now let's create a user. So all products, new product. Let's type here some gibberish just to test. Okay, so if I click here create product, so the product will be created successfully. And now if I go to the home page, and now I have here one product. If I reload this page, you can see that it takes some time while it fetches the data. So let's add the loading file in our application so that it handle the loading part. So for that you can also use a CSS loader, And there is also a very useful package that is called React Loader Spinner that give us a lot of spinners, and it is quite popular package, and you can read more about that um, right here on their websites, on their documentation. If I go to the spinners, so you can see that there are a lot of spinners here. You can see the demos here like this. Okay, so now let's use one. Before that, I will simply install this package. So let's install it. I go back and I install it, and I will go to here in the app, and I create here a file that is called loading.jsx. So first of all, I will create a new component here, and that is going to be loading. Okay, and now in that I will simply use that. So first of all, I give it a class div flex. Okay, and then height, screen, and then items, center, then justify dash center to center it. Okay, and now in that I will add my spinner. So I will use the blocks. Okay, so we have a block spinner in that. Okay, so if I go back and if I search here block, you can see that we have here this blocks. So I actually copy that from here, and this is the spinner. You can choose different if you want. So I will copy that and go back and I put that here. Okay, so that visible is going to be true, height is 80, width is 80. So blocks loading, and I think so that is it. If I simply save it, and now if I go back, if I reload this page, you also have to restart my server. So I will restart it, and now if I go back and reload this page, so we have some issue here. I think so we have to make this component use client. So use client, save it, and now let's check it out. If I go back and reload this page, if I reload it once again, you can see that we get here spinner, and then we get our products. Okay, so Next.js will automatically handle the loading. Okay, also you can add the title if you want. Like if I go to this app in the I go here in the, you can say that page.jsx, I can export here, export const, that is metadata. You can add your own metadata like tags, title, description. If I add here like title, I type here Next.js 13 e-commerce app, save it, and now if I go back and reload this page, and also if I go to the layout, and sorry, in the head, if I comment out this one, save it, and now if I go back, reload this page, so now you can see that here we get here our title, which is Next.js 13 app. In the same way you can give titles to all of your pages. Okay, you can also give title, description, and other meta tags. So now let's deploy this application on Vercel. So now we have connected our application to online database, we have created a user, and also we have created a product, we have added the loading file. Now let's first of all generate the build, and actually before that let's also go to our backend. So now in the backend, in the apps, in the product, in this file, I also want to add here a code to make sure that the ID is correct that we get from here. Okay, for example, if user pass here some wrong ID, so we also have to handle that. So what I will do here is I will simply create here is valid ID. Okay, then mongoose dot is valid object ID, and pass in here the params dot id, params dot id. Okay, and then I add if check here that if not is valid ID, then I will simply return from here with the redirect, and I will get this redirect from next/navigation. Okay, we cannot use here router, so that's why we have to use this redirect from next/navigation. In that I will simply pass in here slash. Okay, if I save it, now let's test it out, save it, and now if I reload this page, it will work fine. if I remove some values from here, it will redirect us back to the home page because now the ID is invalid. Okay, so in this way you can add this code to all other files where we have ID. Okay, I hope that you can do that. Also we have to add the codes because you will get error after deploying the application about the codes, so that our front and back end can interact easily. And for the codes I will go to the middleware.js, and here I can add the code. So I can simply check here that if request dot next URL dot path name dot starts with, okay, if I check that, if we already have the URL right here, so I will use here URL dot starts with the slash API. This means that we are sending the request to the backend. Okay, so that's why we need to set here code. So we check that if the URL starts with the slash API, okay, then what we will do is we will simply use here next response dot next dot headers dot append. Okay, now in that we will simply set the codes. So I will use here access control allow dash origin. Okay, and I will set it to all. Okay, so it will simply check that if the URL start with API, this means that we are sending the request to the backend, and for that we need to enable the codes. Okay, so I will set in the headers the access control allow region to all. Now it will handle the codes part for us. Simply close this file from here. So now let's deploy our application on Vercel, and before that we have to install the Vercel on our system. So simply type here npm i-g to install it globally, Vercel. Okay, and then add latest, and it will install it globally. And if you're on Mac, you have to add here sudo. I already have installed that. So after installing that, you simply have access to the Vercel here. Okay, so now I simply type here Vercel, press enter. Okay, so it will ask me that set up and deploy this application. I will type here yes. Okay, then it will ask you which scope do you want to deploy to. Then this is my account which is already login. If you are not logged in, Vercel will ask you to log in, and then you will have this access. If I press here enter, now I have selected my account. Now link to existing project, no. So what's your project name? I type here buy it now, press enter. So in which directory is your code located? I press here enter. So setting up the project, now it will upload the project and deploy it on Vercel, and probably we are going to have an error. So I will simply type here no. Okay, so you can see that here we get the error. Okay, so what I will do here is I will simply open this link. Okay, open, and now you can see that here the it is failed. If I scroll down, so you can see that here we have some error in the use effect is not defined first of all. Okay, and then we have some issues here. Okay, we have here error connection refused because we have to also add the published URL. Let's first of all go to our upload images page.jsx. So I go to the app, then I go here in the admin, then products, then ID, then upload images, and here I think so we have to add here use effect. Okay, so if I move it down, we have to import that. Okay, like this, and if I go back, so after this we have some other errors. You can see that here error refuse because we get here where it is. You can see that here xuse error connect error refuse for this host, because if I go back I can show you here that we are actually using here this variable which is the process.env.api URL. If I open here my next.config.js file, you can see that here in the API URL we have passed this local host. Okay, so what I will do here is I will simply add here my URL that I will get from the Vercel. Okay, if I go back, most probably my URL is going to be, if I will copy this from here, I will copy that and I go back and I put that here. Okay, if I simply save it from here, now we have added the API URL. Alright, so now if I type here npm run, and before that actually let's type also here https. Okay, then by it now, and then this URL. If I simply save it from here, now if I type here npm run build to generate the local build just to test. So you can see that here we get here another error, which is the reference error, that updated is not defined, and we have to go in the upload images again. I think so we forgot that. I go back in the admin product ID upload images page.jsx, and then here in this component we have to also we have this which is updated. I will remove this from here, save it, and now let's generate the build again. So you can see that this time the build is successful. It has generated all the files for us. So this means that our local build is successful. Alright, now we have to deploy this application on the Vercel again. So I simply type here Vercel, and before that I close this. And now if I type here Vercel and press here enter, so now it will deploy that again. So you can see that here this time our project is successfully deployed. If I open this URL from here, okay, if I click on this URL, click on open. Okay, so now you can see that here we get our application. Okay, so now you can see that here we didn't get any product here. I think so we have to now add this URL. If I go back, I think so we have added the wrong URL. If I open my next.config.js, so we have to actually add this URL. So I will copy that from here, copy that, and now add this URL. I paste that, save it. Now this is our URL, save it. Now deploy it again. It will take 2 minutes. Okay, so now if I simply go back and I close this from here, and now if I reload this page, so now you can see that here we get here our products. We just have to change and that to the this URL. Okay, so now we are getting here product, but there is one issue that I want to show you before closing this video. If I go to the sign in, we know that we have a user. If I add here admin@gmail, so now you can see that here I am logged in as admin@gmail.com. But if I click on this, I will get here this error. If I go to the inspect, I want to show you one thing here. If I go here in the application and then in the cookies, you can see that here now um, the Next.js has added this __ secure flag before our cookie name, which is next.auth.session.cookie. Okay, so this is our cookie, but this time it is using __ secure. Okay, so that's why it is not getting the cookie and we are getting here this error. So what we can do here is we can simply check that if we are in development we have to use without secure, and if we are in production we have to use this secure flag. Okay, so what I will do is I will simply go back. Now first of all we also have to add one more variable here. Let's call it next. Okay, so next_auth_URL. Okay, and we have to type in here the same URL that we have used here. Okay, if you don't type here this variable which is next_auth_URL, the authentication is not going to work. Okay, so make sure that you also add here next_auth_URL, and this URL should be equal to this URL. Okay, so now we have successfully added here next_auth URL. Now we simply have to manage our cookie. So I close it from here, and if I go to my helpers, in the helpers.js, I can simply create here a function to check. So I will simply type here export const get cookie name. Okay, because it is going to be different in different environments. So I will check that let cookie name is going to be empty string. So I will check that if process.env.node_env is going to be development, then we have different cookie name, And the same way, if we have production, then we have different cookie name. Okay, and at the end we have to return from here the cookie name. Okay, so what I will do here is I will simply paste that here and paste that here for the production. Okay, so production, I go back and I copy this cookie name from here and I paste that here. So that is going to be __ secure dash next auth dot session token. Save it. And for this I will simply go to this app. Here in the me page.js we have here this cookie name. I copy that from here, and this is without __ secure. Save it. So now we will simply call this function that will give us the current cookie name according to the environment. So what I will do here is I will simply type here const cookie name is going to be get cookie name. Okay, now we got here the cookie name, so I will simply use this cookie name right here. Okay, so now it will get the cookie with this cookie name, and now here we also have to change the value. So I will simply add here, I will use this Next-Auth session token dot name. Okay, so this is going to have two different properties. One is the name of the cookie and one is the value of the cookie. So for the name we will use this, and for the value we will use that value. So now it will get the cookie according to the variable. Okay, if I simply save it from here, now in the same way you have to add this code in all files where we are setting up the cookie in the header. Okay, so I hope that you can add that. You simply have to call this function, pass in a cookie name, and set here the cookie dot name. So let me show you that. If I deploy it again, so the application is deployed successfully. Now if I go back, and now if I go to the home page, okay, now let's check it out. So if I click here, now it is loading the page. Now you can see that I can simply access this /me because now it is getting the correct cookie. If I reload this page, I will stay here. So if I click here log out, you can see that I am successfully logged out from my application. Okay, so in this way we can simply deploy our application on Vercel. Okay, so I hope that you understand. Simply, first of all, you have to connect your application to the online database. Okay, and then simply add the course in the middleware.js. Simply set the allow access. Okay, if I can show you here, you have to simply set here access control allow region all, so it will handle the course for us. And then you have to add the deployed URL, okay, which is this one, for the API URL, and also Next-Auth secret. And then you also have to get the cookie for production and for the development, like I have shown you before, and then simply have to deploy it on the Vercel and it will work properly. So I hope that you understand what we have discussed in this video, and I hope that you have enjoyed this project series. If you have any question, you can post that in the comment section. I will try my best to respond there, and I will see you in some other video.